Can you tell me one? So you used the word trust, and again, you've successfully made this about Donald Trump, who I really don't care one way or the other what happens.
Will you
Donald
stop
Trump.
saying
so
that?
Wait.
No, I'm not going to wait. This election is about two people. It's not about Joe Biden anymore. It's about either choosing Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. And by the way, I don't believe your lie that you don't know who you're voting for. I know exactly who you're voting for based on the stupidity of this phone call. You're voting for Donald Trump. Why don't you just admit that you're voting for a liable rapist, 34-count felon? Why don't you say, hi, I'm Muhammad, and I'm going to look at my daughter in the mirror when I get out of bed. I'm going to look at her and say, hey, honey, I'm voting for a rapist. How will that feel, Muhammad? Do you have kids? How will that feel when you wake up in the morning and say, I'm your daddy's supporting a 34-count felon, sexual abusing rapist who says if it wasn't her daughter, I would vote. I would date her. All the demeaning comments. How you want your daughter to grow up to look at somebody like that as a role model? Let me tell you something. Kamala Harris is a role model. She worked hard in her life to get to where she is. She made something of herself, and nobody gave anything to her, even though you're probably the kind of person that would say she did. No.
Ryan, what do you mean nobody gave anything to her? They gave her the nomination. They literally stripped it away from Biden and handed it to her.
They didn't hand her anything. She had to be a duly elected senator, and then she was selected as the vice president of the United States. And there's no law in this country that says that if a president wants to bow out for health reasons or otherwise, they are allowed to do that. And the second in command is the vice president of the United States. It's not my fault that you don't understand that. I want to know, how will it feel if Donald Trump wins and you vote for Donald Trump to look at your daughter in the morning the next day and say, hey, honey, your daddy voted for a rapist felon? I want to know, Mohammed, how's that going to feel? Or are you going to say, well, and if your daughter says, Daddy, why did you vote for a rapist? Your response to your daughter will be, well, honey, I don't like the fact that she changed her mind on fracking.
You just said it yourself. She earned it and made something of herself. She earned zero.
Why don't you answer my question? Why don't you answer my question? I'm not going to debate you. I know they handed her the nomination. I want you to answer my question. How will it feel if Donald Trump wins after you vote for Trump and your daughter asked you why, or your wife or whoever it is asked you, why did you vote for a rapist? Why did you vote for a 34-count felon? You're going to tell them, well, because of fracking? I want to know. What are you going to tell your wife when she asked you, why are you supporting a lifelong sexual abuser who hung out with Jeffrey Epstein on the flight log 7 times? I want to know. What are you going to say to your wife? What are you going to say to her when she says, why would you support a rapist felon? Go.
Why would you support Bill Clinton, who was on the plane?
Did I ever say
him the other day, bragging about how great of a guy he was?
Nope.
He was on the plane.
Never. Okay. See, here's the thing. Here's the fundamental difference.
When somebody
here's
does exactly
the fundamental.
what you do, change the subject.
First of all, you're the one who changed the subject because Bill Clinton is not running for president. I didn't vote for Bill Clinton. If he ran for president now, I would not vote for him. I never called him a great guy, like you just said, and you're lying and you're deflecting because you don't want to answer that question because you know I just made you look like a fool. You care more about fracking. You care more about fracking than the fact that Donald Trump is a liable rapist, 34-count felon, and a threat to our democracy. So you go ahead and waddle your way over, because I'm sure you're nothing but a great example of health in this country, right? I'm sure you take care of yourself. You want to talk about health care. God knows how much money you've cost our healthcare system, Muhammad. But you go ahead and you waddle your way to that voter booth, and you vote for your rapist felon. And then you're going to have to answer to all the women in your life, I'm sure there's not many, why you voted for a rapist felon. And then you go ahead and tell them the same things that you told me on this show. I'm voting for a rapist because, I really don't like that fracking. I really don't like, Kamala, I think she might have changed her mind on fracking because you are not a serious person. You are not a serious voter. You are ill-informed, you are uneducated, and you make excuses for Cheeto Jesus. Have a nice day, Muhammad.